Okay, please, let's reconvene. Okay, Omar, next speaker, please. Mariam.
Mary Ellen Esker, followed by Lisa Smith.
Okay, so I want to address a few things that have come up. So first of all, you're getting some handouts coming around. When they switch the one-way traffic through the parking lot and move the driveway closer to the drive-through lane, closer to the building, they did not reevaluate turning radius. You'll see that from the figures. So the first one is the new layout with the drive-through close to the building. The second one is their turning radius evaluation. From the original, they didn't make the change. So when I look at it, I mean, you guys are some civils and transportation engineers too. It's all about turning radius, and you're too close, you're not going to make that turn. So basically, that change they made is a picture. It's not real if it doesn't work. Okay. Second thing, I think first of all, I think Dutch Brothers is great for Fountain Valley. It's great revenue source and everything, and but the cars have to get off Talbert. We cannot leave one single car sitting in that bike lane. So whatever it takes, we need to get those cars into the parking lot. If we have to block off half the parking spaces, that's what needs to be done, because they have to get off Talbert. It's too dangerous. A kid's going to get killed, and then everybody who approves this and does, as far as I'm concerned, the police are responsible if we don't get those cars out of the bike lane. And then hopefully the city is working with them for a solution, because I think it was in their permit that they weren't supposed to go even into the parking lot, let alone on the streets. And until this is resolved, you should not even consider approving another high traffic business in there, hence McDonald's. So next thing, a lot of people comments about this trip generation. I don't know if you guys looked at it, but I did, and it's kind of bogus. If think about it, a McDonald's is going to have 8 fewer trips than a Eden, a little, like the taco place across the street from it. Really, so look, between Dutch Brothers and McDonald's, they have a ton of data. So why would they go to a standard design manual to come up with numbers for trip generation? Doesn't make sense. Dutch Brothers, their analysis came up with 8 trips per, where is it? 8 trips per hour, okay, When I went over there on Monday and counted, over 130. And that's because they use these standard manuals to do this design. Trip generation is bogus. The traffic is going to be much more than what is anticipated. And the reality is, until Dutch Brothers is resolved, there's no way you should even consider approving it. If you continue it to later, if they pull their application, but there's just no way. Thank you.
Lisa Smith, followed by Catherine Henriot.
Good evening. Can you all hear me? Good evening, everyone. I am a resident of Bay, and I want to say that, as many people have said here, there's a lot of safety concerns for residents, drivers, bicyclists, students, and pedestrians. You've all heard this all tonight. And we really can't continue to talk about McDonald's until we address the mess that's happening in the parking lot and on the streets that surround the center today. And it's all taking place where this McDonald's is supposed to be. So, another establishment like McDonald's with 2 drive-thrus is just going to contribute to more car accidents, kids and adults getting hit, and, whether they're on foot or on bicycle, something's going to happen. And there are those of you who say that the current traffic mess will go away when another Dutch Brother opens. We don't know if that will happen. There's no guarantees. You can't just sit here, pray, and hope that a Band-Aid's going to fall from the sky. We have to take action today to fix the problem at hand before creating another one. My other issue is McDonald's as a tenant instead of, any other retailer, small business, medical practice, or even a sit-down restaurant. If you go onto the McDonald's website and type in 92708, guess how many McDonald's there are within less than a 5-mile radius? 19 McDonald's. Do we really need another one? And another concern I have is, as mentioned, is the increase in noise from the drive-thrus. And I understand it's been addressed, saying that, it's going to be reduced, but you really cannot control the other noise that people create from delivery trucks, customers honking, blaring music, people are going to be loitering throughout the day. So, you just cannot control people. Sure, you can control the intercoms. And another thing I've noticed, because we live nearby and we go to this center all the time, is from time to time I do see unhoused folks who are visiting the center. They're sleeping on the sidewalk near doggy daycare. They're trying to, the other day we saw one try to steal a Sprouts electric car, and then, he was stopped. But, with this McDonald's being open, cheap food, people are just going to hang out more all day. Why not? So I wouldn't be surprised, with some of the stuff happening, or some of the stuff that may happen based on all the things that we're already seeing, if the police presence is going to increase in this area due to, noise complaints, traffic accidents, loitering, and that would be really unfortunate because Fountain Valley is supposed to be a nice place to live. So my last point is, no matter how advanced the HVAC air purification is in this restaurant, every time I drive near an area where there's a burger place or a fast food, my nose can always smell it before my eyes can see. So I don't believe that this is going to change. So I urge that all of you be the voice of the city's residents and not of corporate interests. Please do not approve this McDonald's. Vote as if your house was behind the center. I also have some flyers here that I want to pass out in case all of you did have the pleasure of driving by to see what the traffic.
Your time is up, ma'am. Catherine Henriot is next. I'll pass them out for you. Yep. And next is Lisa Arsenault.
Hi, good evening. I live on Bay Street, and I back up right behind the alley of where this McDonald's would be built. When I bought my house 4 years ago, it was a Big Lots shopping center, and I spent a lot of time just making sure that it was going to be a serene place for me to live, for me to raise my kids, and that I wasn't going to be disturbed with all the delivery trucks. Well, then came along Sprouts and some of the other businesses. Currently, I work out of my home, and my office faces the back alley where the Sprouts and future McDonald's would be, and there's at least 6 to 8 delivery vehicles per day. I am not able to open my windows. I cannot work peacefully because there's constantly trucks idling back there, and as John mentioned very well earlier, the idling of vehicles is detrimental to our health. My son suffers from asthma. We cannot even open a window. Think about it if you guys lived there. How would you feel? You buy $1 million house and you can't open a window. Thank you.
Lisa Arsenault, followed by Heidi Menzie.
Hi, happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for saying my name properly. Many people do not. Lisa A., that's what I go by. Pretty much everybody has said everything that I wanted to say, but 3 McDonald's already within less than 2.5 miles. Wow, another one. And the other item that I wanted to talk about was, I think it was 60 feet of the drive-through speaker window from the nearest home on Bay Street. So if you look at all the other McDonald's, they're on Brookhurst, they're on larger streets. There's no residential right there. I can tell you I live off of Bay Street, and I would be very upset if it was in my backyard and I would have to hear that, because I don't care. You are going to hear residual noise from, radios and people talking and whatever else noise is out there. I do have a daughter who is in the 18 to 25-year-old range, so she is somebody who is very familiar with Dutch Brothers. And 2 to 4 weeks, she told me, no way, this place is going to be very busy for a very long time. She is a kid. I understand that, but they have like a cult following with their very sugary, caffeinated drinks. So I am not convinced that 2 to 4 weeks, it's going to slow down. The manager at, one of the managers at Dutch Brothers told me that Friday was the biggest opening day that Dutch Brothers has ever had in their history of their 856 locations. So we are the only location in Orange County, like you said previously. Let's wait to make a decision on McDonald's. We need something in there. We don't want a dead, shopping center, but I'm still under my 2 minutes. And, please reconsider not a McDonald's at this time. Thank you.
Heidi Menzi, followed by Fusako Takeda.
Hello, my name is Heidi Menzi, and I'm an Fountain Valley resident. I've lived here for 45 years, born and raised. I rode bikes all around because it was a safe place to live and ride bikes. I want my kids to be able to do that, and they have for a very long time, but now they've stopped doing that up to the local neighborhood. I live in Talbert Village, so we're very close to this center. I'm here to speak on behalf of my family and a couple neighbors about the McDonald's that is scheduled to go into the doggy daycare building with the double drive-through. I'm here to oppose this idea for many reasons. One being the most important is safety. The amount of traffic that Dutch Brothers has brought has been astronomical for the last 6 or 7 days. People are blocking entrances, exits to the neighborhoods on Talbert. My kids aren't safe riding their bikes to that center anymore because of the influx of people and crazy drivers. The line to get into the Sprouts parking lot has been down Talbert almost to Burchard for days now, every day, and just for coffee. Can you imagine what it will be for a McDonald's? If they plan a double drive-through, then they expect it to be busy. I can't right now even stand to go into the Walmart's parking lot where In-N-Out is on the corner. People, like, that line is crazy at all times of the day. It's amazing. Another reason I pose this is because it is a huge inconvenience to the neighborhoods on Talbert. Talbert was already busy. Add a new Dutch Brothers and McDonald's to that, plus high school traffic that we already have to deal with on a daily basis when school is in session. It's going to be like a Los Angeles street nonstop. It's not fair to the people who live in the Talbert Village or the neighborhood right behind Sprouts. Whenever I drive into an area where McDonald's is, all I smell is grease and the horrible smells. It's puking, right? Isn't it kind of funny that McDonald's is trying to be approved right next to a health food store? A McDonald's does not fit into that center, not only because it is a very unhealthy promotion of toxic food, and it further promotes obesity in our city and unhealthy living. Fountain Valley already has 2 McDonald's close by. One by Costco, which is a nightmare in itself. That whole parking lot is a nightmare. McDonald's, like, drive-through out. People can't even pull into Costco sometimes. And then the one on Burkhurst and Garfield. It's going to ruin the calmness of that once beautiful and easy center to get into in Fountain Valley.
Thank you.
Please vote no for this addition to Fountain Valley.
Fusako Takeda, followed by Chris Edmondson.
Okay. I'll start with last year's December 13th planning meeting. A number of speakers brought up their concerns about the already heavy traffic on Talbert. The study that was presented by a consultant wasn't specific to this location. Commissioner I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, asked for more clarification about traffic issues, and I wanted to know if such a study had been done, and if so, did it mention future additional traffic from new residences up the street, as well as the now open coffee shop? Also, there's language in the notice of public hearing that says in the case of a court challenge, there may be a limitation to raising only those issues raised at the public hearing. I bring this up now because it's just not possible to foresee issues that may only show up after a business is actually operating and open for business, i.e. Dutch Brothers. Commissioner Lopez suggested keep clear, do not block signage at the Talbert parking lot exit. Such billboard signs were present on Talbert over this last weekend, but sadly, I saw them ignored when a live person wasn't standing next to them. Also at this meeting, the McDonald's representative said they expect drive-up queues to be no more than 8 cars. I can't imagine where another queue of 8 cars would fit in the already crowded parking lot that would be smaller still with the new building. I want to stress that every household directly bordering the proposed McDonald's is opposed to this project. Aside from all the undesirable things a fast food restaurant would bring to my neighborhood, the operation alongside a residential tract of homes would not only change the character and appeal of this neighborhood, it would also negatively affect all the surrounding homes and residents across Talbert and Magnolia. And people who live in Huntington Beach are also affected by this. I hate to end on this note, but maybe the most cutting comment I heard was from a Huntington Beach friend. She said, word on the street was that maybe Fountain Valley was no longer a nice place to live. Thank you.
Chris Edmondson, followed by Chris Bundesen. Chris Bundesen, come on up.
Okay.
And that's the last speaker item, speaker request we have. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for your time. I'm encouraging you to vote for not denial. At the December 13th commission meeting, a few of us brought up our concern about the exhaust of the vehicles that are idling in the queue as they go by. And I don't know if the drawings have changed dramatically, but it was less than 100 feet that these cars will be idling in the McDonald's queue. So Mr. John Jay brought up, actually quantified what we're looking at as far as exhaust. Dr. Saul brought up documentation showing what the exhaust could do. The prevailing wind comes from the west to the east. So that exhaust is going to blow in, not to just the houses that back, but the entire neighborhood that's east of the McDonald's. So that's my first concern, my major concern. Everyone's already talked about the traffic, Dutch Brothers, so I'll leave it at that many of us are concerned about the exhaust. I would encourage you to vote no, to vote for denying it. If that's not exactly possible, or if you need a different angle, then other people have articulated wait and see. There's safety in that. And I would encourage you to think about wait and see, because Dutch Brothers is supposed to build another facility very close, so maybe that does lighten the traffic. But on the other hand, In-N-Out at Beach and Talbert did not change when they opened up that new In-N-Out just over on Edinger and Beach. So the traffic has not been absorbed by that other In-N-Out. So I have concern that our 2 to 4 weeks is going to be forever. And so I thank you for taking us seriously, and I thank you for making it a priority to resolve the traffic issue with the Dutch Brothers problem, and I encourage you to vote no and deny McDonald's. Thank you.
Lisa, do we have any requests on Zoom? Mr. Chair, I would recommend at this point we allow the applicant to present to the Planning Commission.
Good evening. Troy Stevenson. I'm here on behalf of McDonald's, And with me is Erwin Busey of Paragon Development, who is the owner of the facility. So we've heard a lot of emotional things here tonight, and I would like to go through just a couple of things that McDonald's has done as part of the design of this. If you look at the existing plan today for the development, we are actually reducing the overall plaza density from 9,279 square feet to 3,850 square feet. That's going from 2 tenants to 1 tenant. I heard conversations regarding the made-up traffic figures and such. We're replacing 2 businesses with 1. That is a reduction in traffic for a typical retail location. Typical retail location with another
If I may ask the audience to
QSR.
be respectful of the speaker, please. Thank you.
So, and we actually considered a QSR and a grocery, so a restaurant and a grocery tenant. One of the things that I would like to say is we have modified the site plan for the traffic, and I believe it was one of the commissioners last time that said, hey, have you thought about making that one-way traffic? When we looked at it, we thought it was a much more effective way to orient traffic by percentage. 76 to 82% of our customers go through the drive-through. That will keep them off the back lane of Talbert. Further, we worked with planning to actually make that an exit only. When we first presented it, it was a 2-way traffic entrance. And one of the things that we thought is if we did not want our parcel to back traffic onto Talbert. By eliminating that access at the rear, we believe we corrected one of the issues that could have happened. There were a couple of speakers who brought up the Brookhurst location. By volume, this McDonald's is expected to do 55% of what Brookhurst does.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Absolutely.
How did you calculate that?
Well, there are 2 ways that we did that. One is the traffic on the adjacent streets. It is 39,300 vehicles versus 24,800 vehicles. So if you look at that, that's almost the exact same percentage. And then we took into account the surrounding demographics.
But you didn't take into account that Dutch Brothers is there and people might come in, go to McDonald's and into Dutch Brothers, so that would have a big impact on the amount of traffic you had, wouldn't it?
Yes, you're correct. We did not take that into account.
Okay.
The other things that were brought up is people discussed deliveries. We do not have 6 delivery trucks a day. We have 2 to 3 deliveries per week, and we would restrict those to daytime hours. There was a concern regarding odor and being able to smell the McDonald's. The filtering system that this McDonald's will have has an improved grease filter. It's called a cascade filter. It's 270% more efficient, and it removes 33% more grease. In addition to this, there will be a UV light through the duct that will actually react with oxygen to produce ozone. This ozone will actually react with the grease, with the byproduct being carbon dioxide, water vapor, and polymerized grease, which is essentially dust. So the effect is essentially a 90% reduction in comparison to other McDonald's. And then lastly, we did take into account noise. I think there was a suggestion made that we do a sound wall. We have done that. We've increased the landscaping at the back of the McDonald's. Further, you use the intercom system to reduce it. The impact of the drive-through should be less than the impact of the traffic along Talbert that exists today. And then lastly, just a couple of things that I would like to throw out about McDonald's. If you look in America, 1 of 8 Americans actually begins their career at McDonald's. During the 1990s, those employees attended college at a 37% higher rate. And then this was actually a stat that they brought up. 1 in 2 Americans has actually celebrated a childhood sporting event at McDonald's. And say what you will, but I believe McDonald's to be an integral component of any community, and I believe we are very, very good community partners. So, thank you.
Thanks for that. My name is Erwin Busey. Honorable Commission members, thank you for having us tonight. I know there's been a lot of discussion. I want to give you some background on Paragon and on me. I've been in the shopping center business for over 30 years. We specialize in grocery-anchored shopping centers. We've had joint venture relationships with CalPERS, which is the California Public Employee Retirement System. Sprouts is a preferred customer of ours. This shopping center was actually built before I was even born, and I'm 57 years old. And it was a grocery-anchored shopping center. One of the things to keep in mind when we were looking at this asset, we were looking at all the existing businesses that were there. And there are some tenants that have been there a long time. And that really attracted us to this shopping center. A great shopping center has national tenants, regional tenants, and local tenants. And that's a critical mix. There's a number of existing tenants that support the project, including Sprouts, and you have a letter from Sprouts acknowledging their support of McDonald's. McDonald's is a best-in-class operator. They use state-of-the-art systems. They know what they're doing. They can project volumes better than anybody. I think one of the things that has come up is Dutch Brothers. Well, I'm lucky. I did the first Dutch Brothers in Orange County, in Fountain Valley. I'm lucky. I'm actually, that's a good thing. Now, I want to read you an email from the real estate manager for Dutch Brothers. No, this is Sprouts. The real estate manager for Sprouts lives in Santa Clarita. Erwin, I'm out on paternity leave right now. We are very close to getting Fountain Valley under construction in the next 45 days. We're in the entitlement process on another 5 locations and I have another 5 signed deals. So yes, 10 more are coming in Orange County. And I think that's a key thing. What's happening right now is the novelty effect of Dutch Brothers. We are working hand in hand with Dutch Brothers and the city to come up with a plan that keeps the stacking on the property. And I think it's important to make sure that we don't have a vacant shopping center. It's critically important to the small business owners who spent life savings to get through COVID and open up businesses. And they're a vital, important fabric of this community. McDonald's, we had to get Sprouts approval in order to even bring this for the city to review. The reason Sprouts likes McDonald's is there's cross-shopping between the two. And again, for example, my wife, she's not going to go to Dutch Brothers. She likes McDonald's coffee. There's different people that like different things, and that's what makes a successful shopping center. Rite Aid, that particular store, great store, did great volume. They're having chain-wide issues right now, so there's more to come on that. A great thing that I heard today was somebody liked the landscaping on Dutch Brothers. So that makes me proud. That makes me happy. That's part of my brand. We want to deliver a community asset. We believe McDonald's will be a great fit. They are also very community involved, and we would appreciate your approval of this project. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are any of the same owners of the stores here? Are these McDonald's stores or are these franchise stores?
It will be a franchise store, but that franchisee hasn't been selected.
Okay, so when I remember the last meeting, you were talking about taking some of the business away from the other store. How does that work when you have 2 different franchisees?
Sir, if you can use the mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Actually, what the McDonald's does is based on the projections, they do an impact, and the impact is on the other restaurants. and the franchisee is either compensated in a reduced rent or a different arrangement is made. A lot of times, though, they try to keep the franchisees located in a geographic area. So a lot of times it may be the same franchisee, that decision hasn't been made.
So now the restaurant is being developed by the corporate, and then it will be sold to a franchisee.
That's right. And typically it's done on a lease basis. Yes.
And,
they pay a fixed rent percentage.
And one more question about the noise study that is included in the package that we received, the staff report. The noise study mentions the two noise sources, the cars and the announcing system,
Yes.
But they ignored the fans on the roof, which are the highest decibel generating noise source. I did not see, they put a cut sheet for the smoke and there are 6 fans, high power jet engines almost. I mean, they're high speed fans, let me call them. 6 close to each other from what we saw in the diagram, but there's no decibel or noise charts for them.
Typically, those are in the center of the roof as well, and the parapet actually extends above to block the majority of that noise.
And if you go to the condominium behind Memorial Care is 6 floors, and there's fans on top of it. And at night, 7, 8 o'clock at night, it's like generator in your room. This is how powerful the fans are. So this noise study is deficient, in my opinion, because the biggest noise source is not included in the study. But that's, side note and just something to think about. Any more questions from the staff?
I got a question. So when I read the supplement document right here, the way I saw on the crash data that generate right here, they say the review of Talbert Avenue adjacent to project site indicate that there are no record collision within the last 5 years.
I believe it's last 2.5. I'm sorry, it's the last 2.5 years, 5 years.
So I hear a bunch of our resident concerned that they witnessed an accident in this intersection. So is that any valid data that we got from here, from CHP, from our police department? Or?
Yes, so the data is based on records from CHP, and they consolidate it into a database. So even the police department of Fountain Valley, they submit those records to that database. And within the project frontage, and the last 5 years, there are no recorded collisions in front of the project frontage on Talbert.
All right, I think thanks a lot. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. So, have you gone back to the business owners since Dutch Brothers opened to see how they're doing? Just out of curiosity, because from what I hear from everybody, that they can't get into the parking lot, and they're not going to, they're not being able to access these stores. So I'm just curious how they're feeling right now, like the fish and chips, the small businesses, the Thai restaurant.
It's good. I mean, honestly, the tenants are our customers. They're our number one priority. Period. End of story. That's how this shopping center survives. And there's no doubt they're busy. And again, they're the first store in Orange County. We are doing our best to address that. I know someone in the audience indicated they talked to the manager after the other Fountain Valley store. Volume's going to drop off at least 50%. Once you get 10 more stores in the Orange County trade area, it's going to drop off significantly. So that, we want an active shopping center. It's just really the honeymoon effect of Dutch Brothers opening right now.
questions?
Sorry, just come back with another question I raised at the beginning of the item is when you anticipate McDonald's going to be built and operate?
We would like to open it before the end of this year. It wouldn't, I think it's, if you look at the construction period, the construction period is basically 5 months of time. So you back that up, and we're in February at the moment, so.
All right, thanks.
And one thing I want to mention is, we own a fair amount of shopping centers throughout Southern California. Vacancy is not a good thing for anybody. It's graffiti, it's homeless people, it's people stealing copper. It's an issue. This is a great tenant who is very aware and very concerned about their brand quality, and their brand quality is consistent with ours. We want a great atmosphere in our shopping center. Thanks.
No more questions?
I don't have questions for the applicant, but I have questions for Public Works before we go to discussion.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me first ask Lisa, is there anybody on Zoom? Todd Huber, anybody? Okay.
Public Works, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Temo Galvez. I'm the city engineer and the deputy public works director. Ready for any dialogue or questions?
Let's close the public hearing first. Please.
Thanks. So I noticed in the staff report and then also in the resolution, there was a discussion of a proposal that came from the applicant to paint Keep Clear in front of Bay Street. Went on to say that Public Works didn't want to do that and suggested different changes, like potentially some kind of traffic study. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about exactly the background of that back and forth and what happened, and if you could go a little further beyond that to under the proposal as it is with, I think it's condition 80 in the resolution, what exactly would happen for a traffic study and who's responsible for that? So let me start with that. I might have more questions.
Sure. And just to clarify, so a Keep Clear that was proposed by the applicant, what was with good intentions, but treatments like a Keep Clear really require more assessment, more study, not necessarily a traffic study, but an assessment, and it really comes down to maybe less has to do with the proposed land use or project site, but more has to do with traffic patterns. And so those are treatments that aren't, they have to have an appropriate use. So oftentimes those have to be looked at, and what it really comes down to is looking at whether traffic on the arterial that it's, for a Keep Clear when it's being considered, if that traffic blocks an access point so continuous where it becomes more of an appropriate use. And in this case, we wouldn't want to just put a Keep Clear. We'd want to take a look and see if that's the case on a continuous basis all year long.
So what exactly would this condition entail? So if this was approved, then it says that we'll be working with the applicant on some sort of study.
So in talking to the applicant, in talking to the property owner of the site, they had agreed to work with the city should there be an issue, not necessarily focusing on whether Keep Clear is a solution, but in general, if there are issues produced by the site, that they would work with the city and we would come up with a solution for that.
So it's not an affirmative plan to do something, it's reactive if something else happens?
So I believe I'd have to look at the exact condition, but in this case, going back to the comment that was made, the comment that was made about proposing a Keep Clear, specifically to the Keep Clear, that was a good intended recommendation and proposal by the applicant, but a Keep Clear that was recommended is not something that you want to just install. You want to take a careful look and see if that's exactly something that would be required.
Understood. Is it possible to pull that up? No, it's not. Right, maybe we can get on
That-
there.
There's another condition that all conditions or the situation will be re-evaluated after 6 months. So, as kind of backup plan.
80.
So, okay. Yeah, so based on this condition, the applicant agrees to work with the city, and it's in a condition here to provide further studies. Should there be something that is born, or should it be an issue related to the project site? Which could be an assessment of a keep clear, or it could be other things, but at this time, we would have to notice an issue related to the project. And at this time, really, the project doesn't show, the issues that we felt the project could potentially incur seem to be addressed by some of the on-site treatments, including the one-way and the right turn only from the most easterly driveway.
Okay, and then who identifies those issues? I'm just trying to understand, we have this condition here that's supposed to be addressing some of the concerns about traffic, and I'm trying to understand exactly what commitment is the applicant making, what commitment is the city making if this project were to be approved?
Well, I can let the applicant speak to their commitment here, but we would certainly monitor it on behalf of the city. Public Works would look at it, and if there was an issue, traffic issue related to the site beyond what was identified in the application and the studies and the proposed layout and on-site circulation, then we would work with the applicant, and they would work with us on putting together a traffic study and ultimately improvements that are resulting from that.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that, it's up to the staff to ensure compliance with the conditions of approval. So what we would do is monitor that area, and if we and residents also, we received questions or concerns from residents, we would be responsive to those, but staff would be proactive and also receive comments from the residents. And based on those two factors, if there was a need to execute condition number 80, then we would do so.
Yeah, and I think just to add to Omar's point, the real issue that we're looking at here is if there's any site, such as the one that's proposed, and should we see that it's impacting our arterials, if it's backing out onto the street, and it becomes something that is going to be sustained, then we would look at working with the applicant to find solutions to do that, to minimize that or mitigate it or eliminate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions from the commissioners? Anyone likes to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I kind of feel sorry for McDonald's and the landlord. When you own a business, you have a right to try to do everything right to increase your business and do the right things, and especially when you have to meet all the requirements that's put forth by the city and the state. And they have done a really good job of complying. I mean, everything that's come up, they've found a way to kind of address it. Unfortunately, this is a really unique situation where another business came in and completely distorted the whole situation. I think under normal conditions, it would not be that difficult to approve this McDonald's, even though I know there's still some underlying objections to it. But I visited that site over there a few times, and I've looked. There was a lot more room there than you realize. When those other two buildings are taken down, there's a lot of room there. Yeah, I think it might have worked, but I don't think it can work now the way things are. And I feel sorry for them because I know they've worked hard, and somebody out there said, well, maybe we can decide what goes in there. It's not your right to decide that. That's the right of the landlord, and as long as the landlord does everything right and meets the requirements, they have a right to do that. Now, when there's other situations that arise where it's affecting the overall community and the neighborhoods, that's where we kind of get involved and have to decide what is best. Is it best for the business, or is it best for the community? And sometimes it's not that difficult. Sometimes it's very difficult. In this case, I feel bad that they have put all of this time and effort in it, but I don't think there's any way in the world I could vote to approve this based on what's going on there now until we really find out, and that might be 6 months, maybe a year. And I know it's hard to put off things like this, but I would hate to add one more car down there right now because of what's going on, and who knows how long that's going to last. Maybe it'll change dramatically and things will calm down and you'll have a much better situation, safer-wise. But I just find it very difficult to find any way to approve this project based on what we're dealing with.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
I'll speak.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You are the new.
Thank you. So first of all, I think this is really difficult conversation, especially given that Dutch Brothers just opened up on Friday. It's really fresh. I've been over there too. I think probably everybody's encountered it at this point, and it's absolutely, I think, a startling impact to everybody there. So I totally understand why people are upset. Like, I absolutely get that. With that said, my belief, and I know a lot of people, both some of the commissioners and I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience might disagree, but I really do think, when we look at this at a 12, 24, 36, 96 month timeline, that Dutch Brothers is going to die down. I know people see the risks when it's near their home. I would too. But trying to sit here and balance the different interests, I think this is going to come back to, it's going to be busy probably for a really long time. But I think the idea that it's backing up all the way to Bouchard on Talbert, like that's probably not going to be the case in a couple of months. That's my judgment on it. I think it's important to remember, thinking back to the December meeting that I was able to watch, people were already pretty upset about this project. So I think it's important to kind of keep that in mind, that there weren't going to be, for some folks, there weren't going to be mitigations that could be done that were going to make every single person happy about this project, even if they're, Dutch Brothers never opened. So I think that's important to remember too. As far as the mitigations, I looked through and saw what changed between the December Planning Commission meeting and the Planning Commission meeting today. A number of additional conditions put on, based on recommendations from the previous planning commissioners. The traffic flow for the drive-throughs has changed. I think that was a wise recommendation by the past planning commission, and I'm glad to see that. I think that would make a pretty significant difference. There's also already a number of mitigations, I think, that'll be effective around noise and odor. So I think it's a lot of improvement, and it also, I think, important for everyone to remember a lot of the concerns people have about odors, about fans, about all these things. If they put a Chipotle in the existing facility, you're going to have a lot of those same problems, and that's a by right. They're going to just pull that permit and they're going to build it. So, we're only able to consider the project in front of us. We don't get to go and propose they put it somewhere else. That's just beyond the powers that government has. So I want to acknowledge staff for working with the project to put every imaginable condition, I think, on this project, recognizing that it's a tough pill for neighbors, but that's why I will be supporting it.
I want to just have a quick summary what I'm thinking between what I see from last year meeting and today meeting. So thanks the McDonald's team to revise the concern and mitigate what the concern from our resident from last year. On my point of view, on the engineering side thing, I think you guys did a very hard job for 2 months to turn back the concern from our city resident versus what you try to improve from convert the bi-directional right-through into unidirectional right now. And even with the keep clear side, And I'm glad you guys bring the crash rate in here, because usually we use that to determine how hazardous the condition of the traffic going to be. That's one of the big factor. I want to see some more actually, especially from the Bay Street on the right turn, because I want to see the corner side distance over there with the stop sign setback. I didn't see that, but I really appreciate all your effort of doing this one. Just unfortunately, the Dutch brother just opened last Friday. I live in Toucan track, and I'm walking to exercise every day, almost to walk into this intersection. And from before open the Dutch brother until right now, and right now I still bike around there to see how the traffic and car flow, and it just unfortunately on the wrong time. It's just have big business. It's not big, but it's popular business in somewhere, and go just first time in our county, and they just open it. So I hope the traffic will die down a little bit. As far as I can see right now, compared to last Friday, latest one is this afternoon when I go over there. The traffic is start from, at least from the stop sign Bay, instead of going the way down to the senior center. So I saw some dive down traffic, and I even get in the line to get a coffee over there. So I believe traffic will relieve. I want to see some more improvement to work out with how the bike, because I have 4 kids, and the kids sometimes they bike to school. So the McDonald's at the Garfield and Brookhurst, we don't have that bike lane in Brookhurst. Talbert, unfortunately, we have the bike lane, and the car tendency to turn on the first right way. With the improvement now, look like we have more space. Used to be the distance between the Bay Street to the first right way is only 150 feet. Right now, if you push them to the second right way for right two, you get more space to turn for the car, and the bike kid can a little bit alert. I want to see more study on that, and but I understand that we're gonna have a long way to construct the McDonald's, and I hope at that time, if we approve this project, the traffic at the Dutch border will die down, and we have a better view and how the traffic flow pattern. And I also encourage the Dutch border and the McDonald's work out the better route on this one. So right now is the overlap, but I'm sure I'm asking some Dutch border service over there, and they say they were working out the new route for the ride to on their way. So I hope they're gonna be happen if this project become reality. So that's all why I want to bring, and thanks a lot for fixing all the concern of the resident in the short time.
Thank you. Commissioner Lopez.
I'm going to have to piggyback on Commissioner Osborne. I agree with him. I think that right now, it's just not the right time. I have no problem with McDonald's. I think if that would have gone in before Dutch Brothers, I think that would have been great. There's too many unknowns right now. You know, we've got this huge traffic jam, and I live in that track, and most of you have seen me, and I walk my dogs, and I go by there, and it's just, that's shopping center. It can be a nightmare. I did get in there last night, and I got some Valentine's Day gifts at Dollar Tree. It only took me like 10 minutes to drive in. It all depends on what time you go. But, you know, Commissioner Syed also brought up a good point about the fans. You know, we don't know what that's kind of an unknown. We don't know what the decibel is for that. I know that we're shooting up gases 30 feet into the air. It's got to take some kind of propulsion. It's got to make some kind of noise. We don't know what that is because that wasn't in the report. You know, the main thing is traffic. Traffic. That's it. You know, the obesity thing, we talk about our kids. You know, teach your kids not to eat there. I mean, I don't think that's an issue. I don't have a problem with McDonald's. You know, my son knows better. He goes to Subway. He likes going to Subway better. Is that a better alternative? I don't know. He's not going to Dutch Brothers. He's going to Subway. He's a high schooler. But, you know, I think that, and I understand what the owner's trying to do too, because he's trying to fix a shopping center that's, you know, starting to revitalize because it was dead. And yeah, Big Lots was great, but it wasn't the anchor that we needed. Sprouts is the anchor, and he's trying to figure out, and it's not up to us to tell him what he can build. You know, he can come up to us and make suggestions and bring a proposal, but I can't tell him, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's not my right. You know, it's what I do is I have to make sure, we all have to make sure that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. There's no, you know, the zoning is right, but we can't tell them that. But right now, it just seems like we're trying to rush something in. You know, we just finished with Dutch Brothers, and yes, eventually it will die down, the traffic, but when, I don't know. We don't know. It's an unknown. And I just feel like we're trying to force something else in really quick. You know, I just don't think it's the right time. And that's all I got to say.
You actually bought your wife's Valentine's gift at Dollar Tree?
Can you believe it?
I made a really nice card, but I had to go and get the little fluffy stuff to stick inside the bucket with the wine and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, the candy's cheap there too.
Well, I want to thank all the speakers who came on this Valentine night. I like also to speak on behalf of all the commissioners to thank those new citizens that they joined Fountain Valley 2 weeks ago or 6 days. I encourage all of you. Nothing makes us happy except seeing this room full and people discussing whether pro or against. It doesn't matter. You need to come here and speak your mind. Having said that, and from what we saw here is not people are against McDonald's. I mean, if you go to law school, there's a course called the trademark. The biggest chapter in that book is about McDonald's, by the way. How much McDonald's is part of the fabric of the United States. How much the kids know Ronald McDonald before they know the president. How many persons started their career at McDonald's. Statistics are overwhelming. So McDonald's is part of the fabric of the United States. And nobody hates McDonald's per se. The issue is the location here. And nothing bears heavy weight on my shoulder. I've been here for 4 years. I've never felt the burden of a vote more than this. And the reason is those neighbors are there before McDonald's, you know, and they have the right of quiet enjoyment. Our vote will be irreversible if the city council approves, if we approve it and city council approve it, or if we deny it and the city council approve it. It's a irreversible damage. Their lives will change. There's a lot of unknowns. That's the problem. I mean, more than anything else. We have the unknown of Rite Aid. We don't know what's coming there. We have the unknown of the fluidity situation at the coffee shop, the just open. To put 3 drive-in in this crowded plaza, I think is the wrong choice. And you have the drive-in ATM, you have the coffee Dutch Bros, and this is the 3rd. And the plaza can barely handle those 3 drive-in. Doesn't mean that there will be no other business there, and you know, to satisfy the owner's needs and the neighborhood needs. And there's a lot of successful businesses, and we wish the owners, of course, best of luck, and we appreciate their efforts to increase the business in Fountain Valley. But at this time, I cannot in good conscience approve this project. because of these unknowns. There's so much unknowns, and for that reason, I move for a motion to adopt resolution number 2, alternative number 2, and deny this.
I will second that motion. And I would all just like to say thanks to everybody. This is really what democracy is all about. You get a chance. Thank God we live in a country where we can still do this. You can come out and speak your piece, and everybody's got a point of view, and you know, that's the way it should be. And when you have a situation like this, it's never easy. You know, everybody's trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing for the city. They're trying to build a business. You folks are trying to do the right thing to protect your community and keep it safe. Everybody's trying to do the right thing. Sometimes the right things clash, and you have to decide what's the best right thing. And I think in this case, denying this at this time is the right thing. I don't know if there's an opportunity for them to resubmit this application somewhere down the road when things change. But that's not up to us to decide, but I will second your motion.
Okay, let's vote. Omar, can you call the vote, please?
Yes, and just to make a note, similar to the ADU resolution that came before you earlier this evening, we will need to bring, if the motion to approve alternative number 2 to deny the project is the vote, then we'll need to bring you that resolution to formalize that decision at your next meeting.
We always deny and no resolution.
We need to make appropriate findings for the denial. So there's certain findings for the approval. You need to show through a resolution that you cannot make those findings, and we'll need to draft that for your consideration to formalize your opinion, and then the applicant would be able to, if they choose, to appeal that to the city council.
But my question is, on every vote we deny something, there is no such thing. You find reasons and make a resolution. This is the first time you are saying this.
This is the first time you've probably denied a project then, an entitlement, if that's the case. So normally if you approve, if you have the resolution.
Huh? There's first for everything. I stand corrected.
So I would do a roll call vote if you like. Commissioner Vu? Yes. Commissioner Langer? No. Commissioner Osborne?
Yes.
Vice Chair Lopez?
Yes.
Chair Saad?
Yes.
The motion to adopt alternative number 2 passes 4-1. And as I mentioned, we will present that resolution to you at your next meeting.
Thank you all. The meeting will remain open.
Thank you.
Yes, the vote is to deny, by the way.
Is that yours? Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Like I knew somebody put it there.
Let's give it a couple of minutes until